Hey, what's going on everyone? Today we're going to be talking about what, in my opinion, are the 5 best attackers in LEGO Legacy. Now, there are some good damage dealers that have, for example, the support tag, but today we're just going to talk about those specifically with the attacker tag. Now, before we start this video, I just wanted to mention that I've officially launched channel memberships, so if you're interested in supporting the channel and getting some perks, you can feel free to check that out. But alright, let's jump into the list. So, in no particular order, the first unit is Argenta. So Argenta is a very powerful pirate attacker. She's also a buccaneer, and that right there gives her a lot of synergies with the other buccaneer units, and of course the Forbidden Island, which makes her a lot more viable than she is just by herself. So she can do quite a bit of damage, a lot with her basic and a lot with her second special ability, but her first special is the real interesting one, because this will do AoE damage, but it does bonus damage to the target foe, and I've had this do over 14,000 damage to the target enemy on this ability right here, and my Argenta is gear 7, so at the max level, Argenta can do quite a bit of damage and really just help to completely take out those enemy teams. And of course, she can also call assists with her basic, which is very powerful with Redbeard there, and like I said, she is a buccaneer, so she will synergize with Redbeard in other ways as well. Also, you get her for free at 3 stars when you first start the game, so she's very useful in both the early, mid, and even the late game, so she's really never not useful. And beyond that, she's great in multiple events, including of course the gold event, and most importantly the Master Wu event, which she is almost necessary for. So if you're considering going after her and farming her, I highly recommend it. She is definitely worth it. The next unit on this list is the other pirate here, and this is Hank the Castaway. He is also a very good pirate attacker, although I would say he is not as good as Argenta for a couple reasons. One being, I don't think he does more damage. I personally have not been able to test a Gear 7 Hank, but just going off of his Gear 6 stats, he was barely able to get 10k hits at Gear 6, so I'm not sure if he would be able to get a hit over 14,000. It may be possible, but I still think he is not quite as useful as Argenta, because one, he is a much harder farm. He is a Brickspedition store farm, which is very, very slow, and you're probably going to want to prioritize the dojo before working on him, so he's probably not going to be a unit that you can get up to a usable level very quickly, and Argenta is just a much easier farm overall. But that's not to say that he's bad. He's still used in a lot of top tier teams to climb very high in arena, and he can be very good for that. So he's definitely a viable pirate, not quite as viable as some of the others, but he is a very good attacker. And then after him, we have Slimer. Slimer, of course, is also a pretty good attacker, but he's not necessarily going to do more damage on a single hit than some of the other units here. Unless you pair him with, like, Gorwell, he's typically not going to hit for over 10,000. If you have him at Gear 7, he might sometimes get over 10,000, but it will be rare. So really what makes him viable is the fact that he hides under stealth for most of the battle, which means that he can live longer than some other attackers, which will lead him to doing more damage anyway over the course of the battle, just not necessarily in a single hit. He also has a really nice AoE attack, which is useful for taking out a unit when they're being hid under stealth or protected by a taunt. It's a pretty useful ability, and it also does a decent amount of damage. Not a huge amount, but is typically enough to take out a very weak unit. And his basic attack can also do a pretty solid amount of damage as well. So all around, he's another really solid attacker that hides under stealth for most of the battle, which makes him do quite a bit of damage over the course of the entire battle. The next character here is Garmadon, and he's an interesting one because he's either going to be a very easy farm or a very hard farm for you. If you already play Brickspedition, you'll just get tiles for him every day as you complete each individual map. But if you don't do Brickspedition that often, like I don't, he's going to be a pretty slow farm, and mine is still 9 tiles away from reaching 3 stars, and some people are already pretty close to 4, and yeah, before too long people will be hitting 5 stars, so I'm still stuck at 2 because I don't play Brickspedition too often. I don't find it that fun, and it's a bit of a grind to actually play. But anyway, if you do have Garmadon, you'll see that he is extremely viable, even at 2 or 3 stars. I took mine to Gear 7, and I've actually been using him in Arena at this level, and he's been working just fine. See, the thing with him is he gives a 30% attack boost to all Ninjago allies, and that is a huge bonus to your other Ninjago attackers. So not only is he a good attacker, but he also gives attack bonuses to your other attackers, which makes them more viable as well, as we'll talk about with the last character on this list. And here's the thing, Garmadon is, like I said, very viable already at 2-3 stars. For example, this clip right here, he does a 10k hit at 3 stars. That's insane. That is a very large hit for any 3-star unit to be landing. So I can only imagine how powerful he's going to be once we can get him to 7 stars. So he only has potential to just get better and better, and he's already extremely viable. The only thing really lacking for him is survivability, and that will just come from more star levels. He'll gain more health and just live a little bit longer, but also Lloyd having stealth and Wu being able to give stealth as well actually helps him to survive for a little while, so it's not a huge issue, but of course him having more health will only make him better. And then the final unit on this list is Kai, and I'm sure all of you expected to see him somewhere on this list. He is my personal favorite attacker in the entire game, and he is just an absolute beast even at gear 6 plus 5, which is what I currently have mine at. My Kai is not even gear 7 yet, and he's landed some pretty insane hits. I mean, take a look at this clip right here. Yeah, that's a 17k AoE attack from his ultimate. That would be a huge hit just for any attack, but an AoE, that is just going to wipe out the entire team. And of course, that specific attack was very situational with Gorwell and Garmadon and all that, but he definitely has potential to do a lot of damage. And my Kai in that clip isn't even at his maximum potential. For one, he is just gear 6 plus 5. He's missing out on a lot of attack from not being at gear 7. Also, my dojo is only at 2 stars, I believe, 2-3 stars. So I don't even have the last ability at the max level, which would potentially give him another like 16% attack, depending on how many buffs he has. And additionally, Garmadon did not land a critical hit with his second special earlier in this battle, which would have given Kai critical damage up, which would have led to an even bigger attack, so potentially a 20k AoE is possible with a max Kai, a critical hit from Garmadon, a max dojo, all that stuff lining up perfectly. It is definitely possible, which is quite insane to say the least. And also I have had him do over like 16,000 damage on his basic attack and similar numbers with his first special. All around he's just a beast of an attacker and a relatively easy farm. Not super easy, he is on a couple of hard nodes, but compared to some other units like Hank, he is not too bad to farm. And he is very viable even at a lower star level because of course in a Ninjago team, characters like Lloyd and Wu will protect him for most of the battle. So that right there are the 5 best attackers in LEGO Legacy, in my opinion. The 5 best with the attacker tag, to be specific. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.